Whenever
Yes.
you are good to go.
All right. My name is Randen Montalvo. I'm 40 years old. I'm a technical consultant from a large telecom company. And part-time, I fix aircraft for the United States Air Force.
Part-time?
Yes, I do. Yes, it's pretty cool.
How often do you spend doing that a week?
It's 1 week in a month and 2 weeks
Okay.
a year, and more depending on the need.
How did this interest possibly pop up?
It's kind of random, right? One has nothing to do with the other.
Or Randon?
Random, right? Let's just call it what it is. It's really cool to get out of your comfort zone. So I'm in front of a laptop all day, troubleshooting technical things for the West region. But I also love engineering and sports cars. Unfortunately, there was no sports cars in the military, and I needed a hedge on the market. So I joined the military. I was interested in the Air Force. I was interested in working on aircraft. And I'm having a blast, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, so what does that involve? Are you actually like getting in the body of aircrafts and like, I have the most obtuse view of like, were you with a jumpsuit and a monkey wrench, like taking it to a motor?
No. First, let me dispel the notion. Only 4% of the Air Force flies, because I know every time I say that, they go, "Oh, you fly a plane?" No, I'm not Maverick. I'm not Goose. We're not doing a remake.
But you hope to be the Top Gun by the end of this.
Let me tell you, I would love to. So I fix structural. Everything that has to do with structure. So on helicopters and C-130s, I assist the team. I am not the best, but I am. I work as hard as I could, as hard as I can, and it's been something I've been doing for about 13 years now.
And so how did you find your way into your other job?
I've been working for that other job for 18 years. It was actually first. Yeah, I've been working for a long time. Worked my way up in that company. It's my best job ever. I absolutely love it. Technical consultant. I know it sounds loaded, but I love troubleshooting very complex problems, and I can't say exactly what it is for proprietary reasons, but it's a blast for me to discover the what if.
So then
why.
Let's talk about the ultimate what if and ultimate why. Why Survivor? What made you decide to add this onto your already loaded resume?
It's a tough one. So my family, my daughter specifically, and my wife watches this religiously. So they bet me one day, they're like, "Hey, you've been through a lot in your life. Why don't you try Survivor? It's like everything you've..." And I said, "What are you talking about? We used to watch the show." And, I've had a really, really chaotic childhood.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah, I've gotten to a point in my life where I work so hard to provide for my family. And my wife was like, you can do that. You're probably not going to make the merge. And my daughter says, you're probably going to get voted out first. But, yeah, so you don't understand. Very competitive family, all right?
Yeah, it's very competitive, but also hopefully encouraging of like, go do this, Dad. You're not going to do well, but we'd love to see it.
She says, out of the group, think of the person who would bring cookies and milk to your door. She's like, you're not that guy. So she says...
Doesn't she know how many years you were Santa Claus?
No, she says that I will probably... She says if you twisted the ratio and said, who look like to kill a chicken if you see it, then your odds increase dramatically in terms of favor. So I was like, you know what, honey? I'm gonna apply, and I did, because I like to put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
My daughter says she's gonna have a number one party for me when I get back if I get voted out first.
Aww.
So it's so bad. That's not even funny. Like that's terrible.
I know a lot of people are like, I'm doing it for my family. You're like, I'm doing it so my daughter won't throw a humiliating party for me when I get home.
My daughter is the ultimate troll, and I love her to death, but she is dying for me to lose in the beginning. So I have a lot to prove. It's definitely a big deal for me. I know that I'm going to have a lot of talking, a lot of relationship building. If I don't, I will be out faster than you could say a number one party.
Yeah, out faster than the engines you're repairing.
1,000%.
Yeah, so when it comes to your own history with Survivor, you mentioned your wife and daughter religiously through it. Was it just like through osmosis you were picking it up? When do you feel like you really started looking at this show saying, oh, I'm enjoying this, I'm having a good time?
So we started to have a family night, right? And in these days, family at the dinner tables, it's kind of a rare thing, sadly.
Yeah.
Right? We just don't do it. So my wife decreed, and I say decreed because she is the queen of the household, she says, we shall watch Survivor together. So me, my daughter, and my wife, my son is too young, he's 4. He doesn't like it. He calls it Survivor. He's 4. He wants to be on his iPad, so, no problem there. And we started watching it. And I started watching it during obviously the Boston Rob, the Parvati, the Russell era. We started watching it on various networks because we couldn't find all of them in one place. Now you can, I see. So that's pretty dope or cool. I'm dating myself there. I don't know. People don't say dope anymore. And then all of a sudden it became a thing, and I started to really like it.
Yeah.
I like the dynamics of it. Now, granted, old Survivor and new Survivor, I say there's a difference because I see a cadence difference, and also see the players are different. The type of players and the type of game is just so much more fast paced.
Yeah. I mean, how tough is it going to be for you to not adjust for that because you haven't played in the old school era, but like from that thinking to this new style thinking?
I just watched 44, and I just watched the fastest fire-making person get 1 vote. I watched the person who I was voting for, Carolyn, get no votes. And she had, in my opinion, one of the best games I've ever seen in the modern Survivor. And then I watched the guy who I didn't think he was going to win, but he masterfully played the relationship social game, win the $1 million almost unanimously. And was not a beast. He didn't find an idol, to my knowledge. He wasn't a beast in challenges. He won 1. He won last gasp. How is this possible? He wasn't the most fitness. Heidi, it was, no, with all due respect to Jam Jam, Heidi was a beast.
Yeah.
And so this game is all about relationship building, and without that, it doesn't matter what you do. I call it challenges, get you to allow you to stick in the game longer. But relationships win the game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So looking back through Survivor history, give me 1 winner and 1 non-winner that you identify with the most.
I'm going to use modern Survivor because I think it's cliche to go back to the old Boston Robs. So the one that I identify with most, I would say. Yeah. You're good. People, knock me. This is a big debate in my house. I loved Carolyn. And I know I'm like a very different from Carolyn, right, in terms of personality. But you have to understand, like, I relate to coming out of the shell and being doubted and being invisible, something that's deep within my roots as my childhood. I related with that. I watched her takes from the beginning become. Everybody was looking at her like she had no idea what she was doing. Yeah. And then at the end, when she revealed her game, which I think was her fault, it was to her fault, but she could not help it. I think that changed everybody to realize she's not playing checkers, she's playing chess. Yeah. The person you said I don't identify with?
Or no, a winner that you identify with.
A winner that I identify with. I liked, from a modern perspective, I like opposites. Yeah. I liked Marianne. Yeah. People say, wow, you're nothing like Marianne. But let me tell you something. I love the art of like relationship building and conversation. Marianne, they counted her out. Everybody counted her out not winning. They brought her there because they thought that they can win if they brought her to the end. She would be a misnomer. Like nobody would give her a vote. They didn't count the power of her voice and the power of her game. And some of the moves that she played with her throwing 2 on, I forgot the gentleman's name. It was a masterful art of counting somebody out. You think they're invisible. They become visible. By the time you see them, it's too late.
What do you think is the life experience that has prepared you most for whatever you're about to get into?
Well, nothing really is like Survivor in life, but there are nuances that correlate. Right? So for me, I didn't have a great childhood, right? I suffered. I ran away from the foster care system when I was younger. I know what it's like to be invisible, which is why I relate to some of the Survivor winners and players. I used to run away from foster care. I used to be on the streets. I don't know my parents. I'd have siblings that I actually don't even know. Yes. Wow. I know more about Jeff Probst than I do my own biological mother. And I'm not proud of that. And I respect to her. I know she is alive somewhere. We're just not there. I just don't have that. I had a really tough childhood. And what that did was that I'm 40 now, so I've grown a lot from it. But it gave me a certain sense of understanding the moment and being really keen on people, like relationships and understanding people from the experience of people not seeing me. And now all my life I had to struggle to figure out how to be seen. I was an extreme introvert when I was a child, and I still am. People don't know that. If I was on this beach right now, I would have a book and a glass of wine. I'd probably stay here for hours. Yeah. But guess what? Nobody sees you sometimes. And it's sad, right? So I had to teach myself how to be an extrovert.
Right. You have to be the social butterfly that's actually a moth.
Oh, my God. The squeaky wheel gets oil. Yeah. And I had to teach myself how to do that. So people see and they're like, oh, I speak so freely. I don't have any hesitation. I trained myself. Yeah. Because if not, I just found that I mesh into the background. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Now, how is that going to carry over to the game, though? Because to the credit of the people you were just talking about, like, they did a good job of kind of settling into that background. Is that something you're going to try to dip back into, or considering the relationship aspect of the game, are you going to say extrovert 24/7?
You have to play it, I would say, day by day.
Right.
And situational awareness, I would say, is very keen. So maybe one day I would look at somebody's game, and when we're having a conversation and I see that they need me to be a certain way in order to motivate them a certain way. Mm-hmm. But you can't be full tilt, hands on. If you look at Jam, for instance, he wasn't totally balls to the walls. I would say that's a pretty bad term. I would say he wasn't 100% full on at all time with his funniness and his humor. He peeled back sometimes. He also had a great retort with Carolyn.
Yeah.
Sometimes there was some cattiness going on. I can make a fire faster than you. You know, I think you have to. So it's like driving a car. You have to know when to hit the gas and you have to know when to brake. If you do everything too much for too long, people will find out your game. They'll call you on it, and you'll be taking a free flight home.
Yeah. So that being said, what do you think people are going to perceive you as? You've talked so much about like your own childhood, and you've talked about also the way that people talk about you. Is that going to play over to the beach, or do you think people are going to base a lot off of first impressions, whatever those may be?
Remember I told you, I do not have the first impression, I think, that according to my wife, that brings cookies and milk on Sundays, right?
Right,
so
brings you that party at home.
Yes. So I think I'm going to have a really tough game. I'm not going to lie. I think the odds are heavily stacked against me.
Interesting.
I think that my likelihood, I analyze things. That's part of my other job. I think I have a very low outcome if I was to not play I have to play so hard to connect with people. If I don't connect with people, if I can't build a relationship with using my words, because it's not going to be no matter if I win challenges, I know people are going to see me as a threat because my presence is a threat unless I speak to you.
Yeah.
And I already can tell you right now, I'm not the fastest. I'm not the fastest runner here. I'm not the fastest swimmer here. I'm not the tallest. I'm not the shortest. I'm not the strongest, right? So all we have is our bonds at this point. That has to be my bond.
Yeah, but that's also a lot of what the new era is, though. Because you look at the better, harder, faster, stronger people, and they go at like 10 through 7. And I think it's those people that are able to your point,
navigate,
be the hiding in plain sight to quote, a past Survivor winner as well, and then be able to pop out to make those moves when necessary.
Sometimes you got to know when quiet is a move.
Yeah.
Being quiet.
Completely agree. So that being said, are you seeking out those similar aspects in somebody else? Are you looking for a number one for a ride or die?
Yes, I want an alliance, but I don't want an alliance. I think that everybody has seen 44 already.
Yeah.
We have the blueprint, right? I know that some people are going to try to recreate that and they're going to fail.
Yeah.
Because you can't beat them. That Three Stooges, that's in set in stone. That's a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And you can't recreate that. So for me, my alliance, I want my alliance to be like healthy tension, like chaotic. I want us to misdirect, like we're not getting along, like we're not really in alliance, but we're in alliance, but we're on a thread, hiding on a line all the time. I want to be able to talk to somebody and say, hey, listen, when we're in tribal, act like you don't like me. You know what I mean? Like, and be nuanced about it. Don't fake it. Just act like you don't like me. And like, I don't want you to always like me. And I want to develop a sphere of people that understand that this game, we can't be buddies all the time. Because eventually somebody got to go.
So let's talk about creating that sphere. You spent some days with some of these people. I'm sure you've been gaining some impressions based on eye contact.
Yes.
Talk to me about some people first on the good side. Who are you vibing well with, just based on like general stuff that if they hit the beach with you, best case scenario?
Yes. So I don't know their names.
Of course. Give me the descriptions.
But I can tell you that there's already 2 survivors that I've seen, 2 castaways that I've seen that really want to talk to me. I can tell. They're always looking at me. They're always watching what I'm doing. They're studying me because they know that I can talk, right? That's a gift and a curse because I know that there's one person here. Remember I told you I'm not the oldest, I'm not the youngest. I know that already. I can tell. And just because of the vibes, I'm just purely Randen speaking, being honest with you. There's one person here who I'm going to struggle the most with.
Okay, give me a description. Who is this?
All right, so she's a beautiful, mature woman. And I can tell you that she knows. I have a feeling that she's been around in terms of like understanding personalities. And I have a feeling that she's going to be the hardest. I'm going to have to get her out immediately. She wants to connect with, I think, some of the females.
Yeah.
And I see the effort there. I see certain nuances, the looks. She won't make eye contact with me at all.
Interesting.
I noticed that. I tip my hat up to her because I respect it. So she's going to be hard. There's another player, another female that I think she is not make eye contact with anybody.
Huh.
Yes, she's hardcore. And I could tell you that it's not hardcore because of no eye contact. It's just you can tell that she knows what she wants in this game. The others are trying to be nice in the beginning. Now that can change. But I can tell you that, remember I told you, if I can't build a relationship, I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
I have to build a relationship where it matters. So it's either I get her out because I could not do it. Like when I go into the game immediately, if I can't build a relationship with her, I want her out.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because that just means someone who's going to work against you.
She's going to go where she feels welcome.
So then you mentioned a couple of people that you felt were actively wanting to work with you. Can you describe those people to me? I'm super keen on that.
So there's one brother. I describe him as... What is that guy's name? From Sparta?
Okay.
So he has like a beard from like a Greek god.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. And it's just ridiculous. I don't know if it's real. I will ask him politely in person. But he has this amazing beard, and I'm just saying this because I'm a fan of for the beard. I've been trying to grow one for quite some time.
Listen, you might have 26 days to do so.
Oh, goodness, I have to shave it every month because of the military. I could tell that he's willing to deal. I get a sense of him that he's been always checking out for me and always giving me like, it's hard because we're very restricted on what we can do.
Right.
But he's always cognizant of what I'm doing, and he always gives me the nods, the eyes, and I'm like, okay, brother, I see what you want to work. There's another dude, he's very tall. He's the tallest of the bunch. So he can't miss him.
Yeah.
I can tell he was a swimmer or he does something in water because he's always wearing like water gear. So salt life, everything. Either he lives by a beach. He looks like a swimmer. I used to swim. He something about him is very out there in terms of the water, right?
Yeah.
And he's always looking at me, giving me like, he's trying to give me a thumbs up. And I can tell either A, he wants to work, he wants to cook, or he's pandering. I don't know. This is a tough one.
That's tough to mull over in your head. Again, when you got nothing but time and you got nothing but vibes.
Yes.
All right, so let's say, whether or not you're sharing a beach with them, it's like day 2 or 3, a boat pulls up. Person walks out, you know what's happening. Pick one person to go on a journey. Are you volunteering? Are you going to try to get like someone else to go? What's your strategy for that?
That's hard because I haven't developed a relationship yet, right? So sometimes you take the person that, like, remember I told you, the young lady that I told you that I think would be hard for me to develop a relationship.
Right.
Sometimes I would have to tell my alliance, hey, you know what's going on. I'm trying to build our alliance further. In order for me to do that, a win is a win. Yeah. So if I take her and I'm able to break bread with her, maybe I say something in that moment when we're eating that makes the difference for us later in the game. But you have to take somebody. I say you take somebody you're comfortable with and you take somebody that you're completely uncomfortable with. That will be of value, who has relationships already, to get you further in the game. That's how I would play it.
So when it comes to advantages in general, I mean, you are such a relationship-forward person, and you've talked about with Jam Jam, for instance, how it's like, it's not a necessity. Is it a desire? Is it something that you want to actively go for in the game?
Advantages are tough. I mean, I see it. I feel like advantages now are such a catch-22.
Right.
You literally can lose your game if you pick the wrong beware advantage.
Yeah.
So it's hard, it's like even idols are not gimmies anymore, even though you find them, they're not gimmies. I mean, they come with, sometimes you pick up something and it's like, do I want to open this or do I want to put it back?
Right.
But I didn't play Survivor to be coy. I want to take risks, you know what I mean? And then the way I see it is this, look, I know I'm going to have a tough game. I know there's going to be a lot of people probably not rooting for me because, I don't, like I said, I have to focus so much on that. It's going to be exhausting, especially without food. But I think that I will take risks. And I think it's either going to make or break me, but I didn't play here to be safe. I want to play like I'm going to be voted off every night.
Yeah, well, your family might think that you are.
You're number one, Dad. Thanks, honey, thanks.
Well, from a preparation perspective, I mean, you talk about those social connections, but from like a physical, strategic perspectives as well, what have you been doing before coming out here?
That's a good one. So I've had a hard time. I'm a runner, so I run marathons, multiple. So I can run probably 14 miles any day on the week, anytime I want. I'm conditioned for that. I've been swimming a lot. I used to professionally swim.
Oh, wow.
So I loved swimming, but I'm 40 now. So I'm kind to say, hey, listen, you're not swimming the same way you did 25. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could swim. I still know my forms. I won't, but I have to be very careful to know my lane. You know what I mean? This is a team game, and a lot of the stuff in the beginning until the merge. So I got to make sure that I'm placed in places where I know I can give the most impact.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, age. People say, "Oh, age ain't nothing but a number." It's a great song, Aaliyah. But you know, it's I have to be very, very careful because you can get voted out if you don't, cut your end of the bargain.
Yeah, 100%. When it comes to decision making,
Yes.
what's your process? Are you someone who maps out a decision tree in your head? Are you someone that just goes with your gut? How do you usually make important decisions in life?
So being obviously a technical consultant and in the military, a lot of things are calculated, right? But I try to make decisions as seamless as possible, meaning I should use humor, and as I'm trying to analyze something, I don't want you to feel like I am writing arithmetic on a paper. Mm-hmm. I want to make it fun.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm joking, it's because I'm nervous, or it's because I'm thinking about what we're talking about, and my brain can go into a mode where I'm just joking with somebody, and meanwhile I'm trying to think about what they're thinking about now, why this person is doing this. And joking is very easy for me sometimes in a moment, and it's really a deflection. It's really just it's for me to process what's going on. So I do like to think ahead, but I think situational awareness in this game you have to make split hair decisions very quickly, very fast sometimes. Because if not, you can come out and somebody could say, that didn't feel right.
Yeah.
You're thinking too long about supporting me. Why did you throw my name out or not?
Yeah.
If you say, I don't know, well, come on now. Jam, if you look at his game last season at 44, he said, hey, did you vote me out? And he made a joke, and he got the person to say, yes, I did. What happened to that person? They got a free flight home.
Yeah.
It works.
It definitely does.
It works.
What would you say is your hottest Survivor take? Your most controversial opinion? Could be about a player, a season, the show in general.
All right, so I'm going to stick. This was a hot deal topic in my family.
Okay.
All right, because we watched 44. Like I said, it was really hot seated. So my daughter was going for Carson. Mm-hmm. My wife was going for Jam, and I was going for Carolyn.
You were a Three Stooges household, right?
My goodness, I wanted Carolyn to win.
Yeah.
I thought she won. She was getting directions and Air Force guidelines from Carson. Did you see it?
Oh, of course.
He's
I saw the stage, Mom. Absolutely.
And he didn't even put a vote in for her.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? I guess, you know what, but to his respect, I do work near NASA, and he probably quantified that Jam through his game maybe earned it, but I really thought Carolyn had that in the bag.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand how she didn't get one vote. It just tells you how dynamic the game has become.
Yeah.
The beginning first take to the end first take to me was like art.
It's astounding. Yeah, and then the other thing as well, though, is it depends on the people that you sit at the end with. You spoke about it before, that and I think Jeff put this in the after party, if they had 2 votes, they probably would have put one on Jam and one on Carolyn, and sometimes it was just, I'm picking between the Tikas, I'll go with Jam over Carolyn. It's
crazy to even... It was a lot of nights of arguing, nicely in a family setting, but
spirited debate.
Yes. It was astonishing.
Well, to finish things off, if you could bring a celebrity or a fictional character out for a loved one visit, who is it? No wife, no daughter. They're staying home preparing the party. Celebrity or a fictional character?
Oh, that's hard, man. A lot of people are gonna laugh at me about this, but I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Okay.
So, I'm a Tom Cruise fan.
Okay.
I've been a Tom Cruise fan since I was a kid. A lot of people don't know that about me. They're like, I know it's cheesy, but guess what? I like Tom Cruise.
I mean, it's a little bit of a renaissance, right? Between Mission Impossible, between Top Gun Maverick especially.
Oh my gosh. And Jeff Probst, I don't know if you know this, but have you ever seen him come out of a helicopter, his hair, his whole vibe? I think this guy is like the Tom Cruise of hosts. He gives me vibes. Because, Tom Cruise flies planes.
Right, yeah.
He does his own stunts.
Yeah.
And I've watched Jeff one moment, and he came out of a helicopter. You can YouTube too, and he's just got this vibe that just it's so classic. You know what I mean? Where he goes beyond this show, I don't know what happens, but that is iconic. He's an icon. Tom Cruise is an icon. He's an icon.
Well, you know that when you win this $1 million, you're going to tell Jeff, show me the money, right?
Oh my goodness. Show me the money, Jeff. And I want to be on the On Fire podcast to ask him that as a question live.
There we go. We're manifesting this. We are good to go, man. That is
Thank
all she
you.
wrote. This was fantastic.
It was a pleasure, honestly.
The pleasure was all mine.
Yeah.
This was so great. I really wish you all the best, and
Thank you.
what's to come in these next few days, and then once you get out there. But I really loved getting to talk with you. You have a really good head about your shoulders, I think, and that's what I think 40 years on this planet will do to you. And I'm really excited to see what's to come for that party to never happen.
I agree. It's so easy to talk to you too. Thank you so much for making this easy.
The pleasure
This is all new.
So nice to meet you, man.
Thank you.
All right, you can head back from whence you came, but have a good one.
Yes, you too.